2, 3, 4.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters, on this 111th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as we discuss the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I'm one of your hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novosel.
I'm going to need you to increase your enthusiasm this morning, please.
On his left and my right.
Not just volume.
The final.
Super enthusiastic NPR person.
The final present member of the GMG Quadfecta, who's got music in his heart, Doctor Who on his brain, along with some retro gaming, and La Coretta in his old stomacho, Marc Boucher.
This podcast has been brought to you by MailChimp. Save 30% now.
I don't appreciate the low-key introduction that I got, and Mark got the introduction of the century.
He did. I really brought on all the stops for him. Oh, folks, unfortunately, the volleyball and beast of the East cannot be with us tonight, but he's making somebody else laugh in 3 words or less, or their money back. Ronnie Johantges is with us in spirit, but no worries. Next week, he will return in physical and verbal form and not be ready or prepared for the podcast.
So
as
not
is
mental
tradition.
form.
That's correct. Speaking of tradition, let's begin with my personal favorite segment of the night. That's right. Just wanted to share real quick about one of my favorite Portuguese-speaking podcasts, Loud Nerds, or at Loud Nerds on Twitter. They are some of my favorite podcasting that none of you English speakers will ever understand. They are 4 friends that love games and nerdy culture and have all kinds of content out there. Of course, they're at least once or twice throwing out weekly podcasts on major podcast apps around the globe. Recently, they've been doing some playthroughs of Rogue Company, and one game that I totally want to play someday, sooner or later, Crash Bandicoot 4. Looks stellar. Did you get that in? GameFly?
Yes, I did. I have not booted it up yet.
All right,
But
I was going to say
it's on next on the list.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But the Loud Nerds, they also do spoiler casts. They did a wonderful Ghost of Tsushima spoiler cast that I listened to in Portuguese. You can check out my podcasting brothers, our podcasting brothers of Rogue Hafa, Kino, and Renato on our Discord, because they are very active members. They, of course, discuss all their material in English, occasionally in Portuguese on our No Inglés, Por Favor channel. But yeah, so they talk about all kinds of topics, whether you speak English, Portuguese, or both like me. Please check out the Loud Nerds. Alrighty, then. Fellas, next up as usual. That's all I got. Next up as usual, what's new news? And Mark, tell us how your past week has been, and of course, why it's been fantastic. Or not
no,
been
I don't think I want to do that.
That's fine. All right, you can pick a different adjective. It's
Okay.
up to you.
Fantabulous. Scrumdiddlyumptious.
This update is your oyster.
Scrumdiddlyumptious. Ooh.
Why does something have to be your oyster? Like, the world is your oyster. The update's your oyster.
What if you don't like oysters?
Yeah. Like, what if I don't want it?
The world is your PB&J sandwich.
Okay. That makes much more sense to me.
I approve this message.
Fantastic. Mark, this section is now your PB&J sandwich.
Sweet. I love it.
Share it with us.
You should ask Isaac about with PB&J, specifically grape jelly.
The jam,
What a controversy.
J is for jam, not jelly.
Yeah, J
Okay.
is definitely for jam.
Okay.
Jelly doesn't even need to be mentioned. Jelly's like, I don't know, that uncle that you don't really want to come to Thanksgiving.
It's like
You're
something
The
that
not cool uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
we got jam. We're good.
You got jelly? No. Get out
Jelly,
of my
you can
house.
just you can stay home this time. It's
Yeah,
cool.
you can stay home. We don't need you.
No, my week's been pretty good for the most part. I'm pretty excited for my wife, Kristen. She actually started a new job on Friday.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell me it's a transponder.
Yes.
I knew
Actually, she is checking the specs on the rotary girder.
it. Oh,
Oh, she's
Jealous.
a rotary girder spec looker.
that's what I went. That's what I went to college for.
Nice.
Never got to do it.
Yeah, she dabbles in that a little bit.
Nice.
No, she's working for the online component of the university in our town here, my alma mater.
Nice.
Yep.
So that's super exciting. It's a big blessing for us for several different reasons. One of which is more money. Yes. Lucas, for those not able to
For
see
those
at
watching.
home,
Those watch not watching.
yeah, that are unable to watch because they can't see. Basically, Lucas is making the money sign.
I did the money finger rubs. Which why does
the
that
finger
mean
rubs.
money? Like, is that how you hold money?
Is that
Like,
the
you just
sign
rub your
language right
fingers
there?
together?
Is that the
Is
sign
it?
language?
I don't know if that's. We need a Mark fact.
That's a fact that Mark
or is
doesn't
it
know.
like the hands motion like pat like
Oh yeah, that's the original.
the
You
money,
just
money, money,
slide it out.
money.
sliding of the hands?
Yep.
I don't
But
think that's it either.
no.
Nope.
Also, it allows us to spend more time together. Because
nice.
That's
good
important.
time,
That's awesome.
For sure.
good time. Kristen was doing second shift and I do first shift, so it was kind of difficult to see each
Oh
other.
man,
But
that's rough.
yeah, but this makes things a little bit more workable for us and spending time together. So, especially because she gets I think 6 weeks worth of training, and it's like first shift hours. So she's home in the evening and stuff. So that's super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Right before we came to Brazil, probably the 3 or 4 years leading up to 2012, Mindy and I were just like that. She had the daytime shift as a teacher, and then I had the night shift as a waiter. So, yeah, man, that's awesome for you guys to get that matched up. That'll be great.
Great, yes, great indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So super excited about that. But that's been pretty much the status quo. Other than that, got to get together with my parents, my in-laws, a couple of times this week. Obviously, La Carreta night was one of them, but also went over to their house and got to enjoy some nice chicken chili, which my mother-in-law's chicken chili is awesome. I absolutely love her chicken chili.
Yum. It's that time of the year too.
Yeah, and this
For any
is
chili.
Everything's starting to get cooler, and so it's just a perfect time for us to go ahead and have a chili night. So
Yeah.
Definitely a fan of that. On the gaming front, as I told you guys last week, I told you by the time we recorded tonight, I would more than likely have finished Link's Awakening, and I did.
All right,
completed
nice.
Link's Awakening, and it has gone back to GameFly, and I'm switching
You
it
mean
out. So
flown back to
Yes.
GameFly?
yes, it has. It flew back to GameFly. And Mafia Definitive Edition is taking its place.
Yes.
Okay.
So it has not arrived just yet, but I'm waiting for it any day now. I'm a little disappointed in myself because I did not get back into Ghost of Tsushima.
You did not.
I did not.
Boo.
But I'm telling myself that before I put Mafia into the PS4, I need to finish Ghost of Tsushima.
You do. You owe it to
So-
yourself.
You owe it
So I
to
need
us.
to do that, especially
You
since
owe it to Ghost of Tsushima, Insomniac, PlayStation, and the world.
And Kage.
Lord Shimura and Kage.
Yeah, you owe it to Kage.
Yep.
He gave everything for you.
Yep. So it's gonna happen. Did he give everything for me? I don't know.
At least his rear end.
How many times have you accidentally sliced your horse?
So many times.
Not so much that, but more so, I think so many times I've like accidentally jumped off like a certain height and have been thrown off Kage.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times I Yoshi'd Kage. Like I would be about to land and then I would jump off of him right before he landed on the ground. And he would get hurt, but then I would be fine. I did a Mario.
See, I thought you meant you like punched him in the head.
Oh no, that's awful. I sworded him a lot, Patrick. You brought that up.
Gosh, yeah.
I can't hide times. I was like, okay, Kage, let's go. Hi-ya! And then I'd like slash his face. Like, I'm sorry.
Sorry? Question mark?
Yeah.
But yeah. So this next week, that is on the priority list.
All right. Better hear a good update about
Yes.
finishing that next
Yep.
week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or
I
I'll be
will
sad.
not touch Mafia until
If you do not finish it, you have to write a haiku for us. So it's either finish it or write a haiku live.
Not that
Win-win.
bad of a punishment, though. I like that.
I guess it is win-win. You have to make a haiku about bathroom subjects.
Okay, now I'm
There we go. Now, you see, I'm glad you said that.
I'm going to create one just for fun.
great. Also on the gaming front, of course, we have been moving the needle on Retro October.
Yeah.
Been having a lot of fun on that end. Let's see. This past Saturday, I played Kirby Superstar, which was a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite Super Nintendo games to play. We were able to give away a GMG T-shirt to our very own joiner, Mr. Tim Pollen.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
congratulations
A resident
to Tim.
Iowan.
Yeah.
Iowanese. Sorry. Resident Iowanese man.
So that has been shipped off to you, Mr. Pollen. So you should be expecting that within the next half a year.
Yeah, if it's anything like Barnabé's,
Yeah.
Hey, you might get two.
you might get two on accident. Who knows?
Yep. So, but yeah,
Is it
congratulations
on
to
accident
Tim.
or by accident?
By accident.
By accident.
By accident.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like we've
couldn't
covered
care less.
this. I could care less.
You couldn't. You could not.
But I
You
could.
could not. Anyway,
Doesn't that just
Anyway,
mean you
here's
care
Wonderwall.
if you could care less? I could care less. So I care a little bit.
oh, that's good.
Is that
That
how
you
that
have a little
works?
bit of care left in you.
Yeah, like a Care Bear.
Heh.
With a rainbow
stare
coming
too
out of
much.
his belly.
Care Bear stare. Yeah, so obviously, yeah, we played Kirby Superstar, had a lot of fun with that. Also played some Blaster Master before that. That game was a lot of fun. Like,
Yeah.
that game
Yeah,
holds
I
up.
love that game.
In terms of indie game, it could be an indie game today.
Sure.
So, and there's a lot of great gameplay features. I love the fact that you can get in and out of the tank, shoot, what is that tank's name? I think it's Sophia. I think is the tank's name, Sophia the Third. And
Wait,
What?
what?
yeah,
Uh-uh.
yeah, that is the name of the tank.
I don't
Like
believe
if you bring the start screen up, the menu, it tells you that that's the name of the
Sophia
tank.
the Third?
Sophia the Third.
Is that isn't that a Disney cartoon?
That's Sophia the First.
Oh, so the great grandma
This is
of
the
the Blaster
descendant.
Master car is descendant of Sophia the First is Sophia the Third. Okay. This is like in a distant future. They've put their mind into the machines and stuff, whatever that's called. I can't remember.
The only problem that I had with that game, and some games do this very well, and others it's just super annoying, is that whole Metroidvania style of backtracking.
Yeah.
Like you have to go you go through area 1 to area 2, and then 2 to 3, and then to get to area 4, you've got to go back to area 1, and then go through a different way with an ability that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
And so certain games they handle this well, like obviously Metroid does that well.
And more modern ones where they kind of have like map indicators of unexplored areas, but
The Ori
Nintendo
games do it well. Love those. But yeah, this game was just kind of frustrating. I was like, man, there's no easy way to get back to Area 1 from here, so I've got to backtrack super far.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a certain point, it was easier for me to take a death, and because it automatically brings you back to the beginning of the area.
It's legit.
It was faster to do that. So, but it was still a lot of fun, and we still had plenty of people dropping by and following the channel. Which brings me to our next exciting thing, and I'm sure many of you today, at the time of the recording, today's Monday, saw this on Twitter that we have officially reached affiliate status.
Yeah, baby! Congrats!
On GMG Twitch. Woohoo! So thank you so much to everybody who has been watching and has been following. This is super exciting for us to be able to kind of get to this next step, and we're going to try to keep pushing along and growing the Twitch channel. Obviously I'm going to be doing some stuff, and I think Lucas, I think you've said you are going to be joining in as well.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Sweet deal. I kind of gave people a little bit of a taste of what's coming on my end in the next month. So I'm going to officially announce here on the podcast, I'm doing something called the GMG Game of the Month.
GMG got him.
Yep, GMG got him. GOTM. Game of the
Month. That is awesome. GMG got
Love
him.
it.
Love it.
So basically, I'm going to be streaming once a week. It's probably going to be on a Saturday night, and I'm going to be basically picking a game each month that's a longer game that takes about 12 to 15 hours or more to work on, and I'm going to stretch that out throughout the span of the month, and it'll be the focus of our streaming, or at least my end of streaming, for the month. Now, what our inaugural game of the month will be, still working on that. I've got a couple of ideas for what game I want to do, but
Persona 4 Golden.
No.
He said 10 to 12, 15 hours.
I thought he meant a day. He was going to do
100.
10, 12, 15 hours a day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Persona 5.
I actually have a life, so I don't think I could ever go through that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so we'll be doing that next month. Obviously, we're going to keep the ball rolling on Retro October this month. Tomorrow night, we're going to be playing an unsung hero, I think, of the NES era. It's called Star Tropics, which is very much a Zelda top-down type dungeon type game, but it's on an island. So I'm super excited to play that. I used to play that a lot when I was a kid, and so I hope people will enjoy tomorrow night, as of recording tomorrow night being Tuesday. So, but that is pretty much everything on my end. So,
Sweet.
Patrick,
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Why?
I'm doing fantastic.
Are you now?
Ooh,
Yes,
great and fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Let's hear about it.
It was Wednesday last week. It was around 4:15, and that's around the time that my kids come home from school. And I was on a phone call with the client, and my door starts to open into my office. And usually when that happens, it's 4:15. I'm expecting it to be the kids. Door opens, and it is my high school buddy, Tony, who lives in Florida.
What?
And he just opens the door, and
Surprise!
yeah, it was a huge surprise. Like, it's because I was not expecting, because we were texting like the night before, and he was already in town. He was just kind of like seeing if I was gonna be home during the day on Wednesday, so he just stops on by. And yeah, man, it's just like I said it before. He's one of those guys where no matter how long it's been since I've talked to him or seen him, we always pick up like we've never been apart, kind
That's
of
great.
thing. Yeah, so great time with him. We played games on Wednesday night, and he's like, what's the new game? So I was like, well, we try to do like co-op games. We don't do single player games usually when we play. So I showed him Enter the Gungeon,
Ooh,
Nice.
okay.
and he loves it. So we started at he was over till like 2 a.m. on Wednesday night, and we were just playing. I was like, it's like, hey, are you tired? He's like, no, not really. I was like, do you want to play another one? So every time we died, we just continued to play another one.
More. Yeah.
And so we had a good time. We hung out pretty much all week, all weekend, and we watched the Bengals game. And then after the Bengals game, he came over, and he's like, I was like, so what do you want to do? You want to get some dinner? He's like, I kind of want to play Enter the Gungeon. So it was like the hooks were in him, and
He's hooked.
I think we got to the 4th of the 5th chambers, and yeah, it's a little bit different with co-op because you share all the resources. So all the weapons you pick up, you have to like, okay, who's gonna get this one? Who's gonna get this power up? Who's gonna buy the extra hearts or extra health at the merchant, because it can't go to both of us. So it was like more of a strategy there. So it was a little bit different for co-op. But yeah, we had a great time with Enter the Gungeon this past week. So it was really, really nice to hang out with him.
Cool.
And yeah, it was just like I said, it was just something we picked up right where we left off. We're idiots together. It's one of those things where the first time we see each other or talk to each other, the conversation starts off with absolute gibberish. So we'll say hey, and then it'll go off to like hey Pat, and then I'll say hey Tony. And he says, and then it just goes off on random stuff for like 5 minutes, and then we'll actually talk about what we're gonna do that day. So it was just yeah, it was a good time. That was pretty much it for the life front. Work has been crazy this past week. We just had a new hire start today, so that's a lot of my effort in work is making sure that they have all the accesses, all the training, get that orientation in. So. It's been crazy. On the gaming front, other than Enter the Gungeon, I haven't really played much because my buddy has been in town, so we've been playing a lot of Enter the Gungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it was a great time, great chill time with my buddy. But that's about it. Nothing else going on my front.
It's not a bad week though.
It was. The 5 days he was in town flew by, like absolute flew by. But yeah, so it's good times.
Cool, man. Great oldies.
Yeah. How about you, Lucas? What's up with you?
All right. Well, on the family real life front, I guess, as we're calling it, as is tradition.
As is tradition.
As is tradition, I've done something this past week. I did something this past week that I have not done in about 12 years. I did my civic duty from Brazil, and I voted.
Oh.
Got an absentee ballot. I actually got the absentee ballot like 3 weeks to a month ago, and I'm like, I feel like this is too early to vote. So I waited. I unfortunately watched a debate or two. Like the whole thing.
What? You did the whole thing?
I trudged through the mud.
Did you just like pop some popcorn and just sit back?
Well, I did one thing that I do for podcasts. Not because I don't like them, but just because I just think people talk too slow in general. I put it on like 1.75 speed, almost 2.
Oh, gosh.
Whoa.
And it was like, sometimes it was like watching kindergarten kids like just go at each other and yelling gibberish at each other. You had no idea what was happening. But for the most part,
talking at normal speed.
I got used to it. I did it for both the presidential debate and the VP debate, and even the town hall meetings. I between those things and just reading up on articles on all sides of the conversation, I really just wanted to be in a good headspace to vote responsibly, and so I did that the past couple weeks, and but I voted, and you know, it's been so long. Like I I just was looking at the ballot, and I'm like, I don't know what half of these people are. I'm voting for them to do. I'm like, okay, I know president, I know senator, House of Representatives, yes, treasurer, those are good. But I got to like the local people in my county, where my, I guess my extended residence is, even though I don't physically live there, it's still considered my U.S. residence. And I was looking at some of the local positions, and two of them were the local county assessor and the local county surveyor. And they were two of the people, one in each of them, were people that I went to high school with. And I was like, what?
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. So shout out to Gigi Collett. I voted for you as assessor. I'm telling the world. And Chad Proudfoot as surveyor. You got my vote. So
that is an awesome name, Chad Proudfoot.
Hold on, I was gonna say Gigi Collett. That sounds like
they both got cool names.
Rap album, like Gigi Collett's new rap album.
Gigi Collett.
Gigi Collett. Yeah, that works. So yeah, I had no idea what they're supposed to do. I have no idea what they're supposed to do, but I know them, and I know they'll do a great job. So that was the adulting I did this week. Besides that, my father-in-law is still visiting. He's splitting his time between hanging out with us and going to the dentist. It's been going well for him so far. And but kind of having him around, just, you know, really wanting to utilize the time, kind of like you understand, Patrick, with your friend that, you know, from when Tony came by for those 5 days, you probably weren't as productive as, you know, as an insurance guy, as a husband, as a dad, all those things. You kind of split your time and focus. And
and the wife and the kids, they understood.
Of course,
you know,
yeah.
Like I don't see them very often, so they were very supportive.
Yeah, definitely. And so with John here, my father-in-law, you know, we wanted to spend some quality time with him because we hadn't seen him since earlier in the year, and we didn't know when he was going to visit again. So when he was here with us, we were definitely focused on hanging out. We watched a couple movies. We got him to watch some Disney movies, and let me tell you, Mindy, my wife, is shocked that she was able to do this because ever since she has known him, he has never been interested in any movies other than like either really, really, really old movies or like Christian Bible-based movies. No cartoons, no Disney, no nothing. And my kids were just like randomly bringing up, hey, Papa, let's watch Frozen 2. And he's like, okay. And we're just like, what?
Whoa.
And so we watched Frozen 2, and he liked it. And then the next day, the kids were like, hey, on our Disney chronological watch list, our next movie is The Lion King. Well, you want to watch it with us, Papa? He's like, sure, let's watch it. We're like,
oh, that's
right.
Cool.
Who and are you, and what have you done with my dad?
Exactly. It's like, you're not my father-in-law. And so we watched The Lion King, and he loved it. Like, even halfway through the movie, we had to pause because a family member had to go to the bathroom. And he's like, this movie is incredible. And we're just like, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even the next day, randomly out of the blue, he was like, that would have been awesome. This would have been like, I can see what's happening. What? And they don't have a clue. Who? But he just brought up, like, just saying randomly, I love that movie. He'd love that movie. He's like 10 out of 10. And I'm like, coming from a guy who doesn't really like kid movies or has watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I was like, stamp of approval. Lion King is top-notch movie. So good stuff. I love that movie. Like, the music, everything about it is fantastic. I'll be honest that I'm not exactly looking forward to watching the live action again because I find it a little weird the way they animated the quote-unquote live action characters.
Yeah.
And then the songs, like, I don't know if you guys have listened to like the original songs and the live action songs back to back, but there's no comparison between the two.
Yeah, the OG is so
OG all
better.
the way. So
Yep.
But yeah, we're still gonna do it, and you know, we'll watch it and then we'll rank it probably much lower than we ranked Lion King original. The other thing we're watching that we started watching with Natasha is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Have you guys watched or heard of this anime Nickelodeon?
Is that
show.
the James Cameron movie?
No.
So there's no, not that's the Blue People. That's the, there is a movie though. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. He made the live action adaptation. No, we're not going to talk about that. I've heard bad things. I've never seen it.
It's
but,
horrible.
Yeah. Supposedly they're remaking it, or he's getting another go at it.
Apparently is, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But so we're watching the original. I think it's 4 seasons. Avatar: The Last Airbender, watching on Netflix, and early impressions so far are positive. I think Aang is hilarious, the title character, the Last Airbender. Yeah. Between him and the antagonist.
So I don't know anything about the Last Airbender.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So in this mythical realm, that's like an Earth-based realm where you have a bunch of different nations, but these nations are based off the elements. So there's like the Water Kingdom, the Fire Kingdom, the Wind Kingdom, and the Earth.
Is this
Kingdom.
Captain Planet?
Pretty much. No, it's not Captain Planet. But funnily enough, when the Fire Kingdom goes to war against all the other kingdoms, prophecy says that the last Airbender, or the Avatar called Avatar, that can control all of the elements, like Captain Planet, combination thing, he will save humanity, or he will save all the kingdoms. And so it's about pretty much.
So Aang is Captain Planet?
Yeah, Aang is Captain Planet.
Oh man,
except he's not summoned.
He's not summoned. He's found in like a big block of ice with a huge creature called
Appa.
Papa. He's hilarious.
Appa.
I love Appa. Yeah,
yeah.
not Papa. Appa. Appa is funny. He just likes to take naps all the time. But
yeah, so this is very much like a reincarnation type thing. The Avatar comes from a long line,
yes,
a succession
that
of
is true.
avatars,
which is where the word originally finds its meaning. And,
right.
Yeah.
And so Aang is just the latest one in this show.
Yeah. But it's pretty much about it's pretty much like a coming of age story, because Aang is like a 10 or 11-year-old kid. He's very immature. He's very powerful, like controlling wind. That's why he's the last Airbender. He can bend the wind and control it. And it's pretty much.
So can he fly?
Yeah. He's got a staff that turns into like a flying kite that he can ride. It's really cool. Like, I kind of want one. I wouldn't be able to do anything with it. I'd probably break.
So he's like Captain Planet mixed with Mary Poppins?
Correct. Exactly right. That's the first thing.
Much cooler.
Yeah, much.
I don't know. Mary Poppins is pretty cool.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Hey, hello, Mary Poppins. What you doing there? So, Aang is hilarious. Now, his relationship so far, I'm only 3-4 episodes in. If you've watched, I'm mixing anime, but if you've ever watched Pokemon, the movie with Mewtwo Strikes Back, where Mewtwo and Mew fight each other, like Aang and I know, Patrick, sorry, I've lost you.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Mark's shaking his head, and maybe some of you joiners understand. Mew and Mewtwo have this relationship where Mew is very lighthearted and a very innocent character that just likes to have fun, but is very powerful. And then Mewtwo is like very emo, angry, but also very powerful. And so far in the first few episodes, Aang has this relationship with, not a relationship, but there's an antagonist trying to capture him that's very serious, but then Aang is very just like whimsical and just wants to have fun, but he just kicks this guy's butt over and over again. And so I find it.
You're talking about Zuko?
Yeah, he's got the scar on his eye, and
yeah, that's Zuko,
the fire control dude. Yeah, he's really angry, but it kind of reminds me of that. What's that?
He's voiced by the guy that plays Rufio in Hook.
Oh, I did recognize his voice.
Rufio.
That is Rufio. Yes. Okay, that totally makes sense now.
Mark fact.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, forgot to do that. Why that? Patrick can edit that in later.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Did it.
I got it.
No, it's all good. But that kind of like back and forth between them is funny. I will say the animation and the voice acting, at least at the beginning, feels a little dated. But I'm only 3 episodes in, and so it's really got me, my daughter Natasha, and even my non-anime watching wife really kind of hooked already just after 3 or 4 episodes. So we're looking forward to it. It's been good.
Nice.
Besides that, in the gaming realm, still working on that old Spelunky and riding the struggle bus on that old Spelunky. It's kind of like, Patrick, just to give you a heads up on it, I forgot to mention this last week when Ronnie was here, but Spelunky is very much like Enter the Gungeon, except you don't get as many guns. So you can imagine it's a little tough. Like, it's not like a bullets flying everywhere, but it's hard. And it's more of a 2D side scroller. There's no guns. I've really struggled with the controls a little bit. It's either the character either moves really fast if you hold down, what I would say the B button, like on Mario, and he moves super fast, like almost uncontrollably fast. Or if you let it go, he moves like a turtle and really slowly, and he can barely jump anywhere. And so,
Gross.
It's taken me a little bit of getting used to. The level design is, again, 2D side scrolling. I've been trying to unlock shortcuts so that I can skip certain sections of the game. I think there's 4 or 5 sections, and I've gotten to the final section, the temple, but I've never gotten past the first part. There's like usually 3 or 4 parts to each section, each area or world or whatever you want to call it. I haven't gotten past the first one of that, but I've been unlocking shortcuts, which has kind of helped. I have not reached the final boss yet, but I've been enjoying the strategy, the challenge. I wish there was a little more character growth design, like being able to level up or get some
more
perks.
RPG elements.
Yeah, more of that, but it's not like that. So pretty much you can switch characters, but it's all just a palette swap. I think you guys talked about in Enter the Gungeon, like there's like little perks when you switch your characters.
Yeah.
They have like a special or a little ability or something.
Sure. Yep.
But this one is just a palette swap, so nothing major. But I played that for a good solid week and have kind of struggled. So I've taken a little break from it. I'm going to go back to it because I'm determined and I want to beat it. But other than that, I've played a little bit of Avengers. I did return back.
Oh, really?
Because there is a new hub in Avengers.
There is.
And in that hub, subsection 0, in that hub, all your faction assignments can be grabbed.
Excellent.
Yes, it's
that is
fantastic.
Fantastic.
However, Sarah Garza is not present. So you have to grab your Inhuman faction assignments from a little computer panel on the wall. And then the other lady, I don't remember her name. She's there. But Sarah Garza is not.
Oh, Sarah Garza should have moved to that new place.
So she's
Sarah
stuck with
Garza
the anthill.
is my favorite NPC in the entire game.
She's the best.
Seriously, she's the best.
Seriously, she's the best. How many times do we have to say that now?
So
9
for those who don't know, Sarah Garza, she is in the Anthill Hub, and when you get your daily missions, you have to go to her. And you can select 8 missions and then, or eight assignments, and then 1 like boss mission. And every time that you select one to accept, she'll respond with, "Seriously, you're the best."
She used to.
So
Sadly, they patched it out.
At first, so if you selected all 8 in a row,
really fast,
she would say, "Seriously, you're the best." 8 times. And then also, if you got the boss one, she would say, "Seriously, you're the best." So
9 times.
Even if you walk away and go around the rest of the hub, you can still hear her in the background saying, "Seriously, you're the best. Seriously, you're the best." And so it was funny because I played a ton of Avengers, and Clark liked to watch me play Avengers, and he also loved the "Seriously, you're the best." And I think there was one time after the first update, they kind of like patched those out where she would say something else than "Seriously, you're the best." And she's like, "Seriously, you're the best." And then Clark and I would laugh. And then the next one was like, "Hey, thank you so much." And then Clark and I looked at each other like, "What?
What
No
happened?"
way!
Yeah.
What? This is one of the best glitches. Like, this game is glitch ridden, but this is one of the best glitches of hearing her say,
such a good one.
"Seriously, you're the best," over and over again. So it's sad to see that is no longer the case.
It's true. It's very sad, but it's very convenient to get all your assignments, your Inhuman and your whatever they're called. What is it called?
The Shield assignments?
Shield, yes. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
the other faction? The Shield faction assignments is all under one area. The other thing they introduced is a new mission type called Tachyon Rifts.
Okay.
And I did it the first time and definitely failed.
No way.
I had no idea what I was doing. So you enter in this area. It's really unstable. There's like a storm cloud and like all these like almost like rifts in time. I guess Tachyon Rift, it makes sense. There's like these purple rifts happening all over the place, and you have a timer. And I thought the timer was for me to reach the next part of the mission. Well, I get there and the timer keeps counting down, and I'm fighting enemies. They're all shielded, and all of a sudden it goes to 0, and it's like mission failed. And I'm like, wait, what? What am I supposed to do? And so I discovered that in this mission, whatever you want to call it, the little crinkle, the little challenge you have while you're fighting your enemies, you also have to touch all these little, I don't know what to call them, like rifts in time, like time or space, or like these little clouds, and they give you like plus 20 seconds, plus 10 seconds, plus 5 seconds. And so you have to like hit these little collectible things and also fight at the same time. So it adds a little bit of a challenge, I guess, to make sure the timer doesn't go down while you're fighting and doing your tasks and all that jazz. So it was okay. It was interesting once I figured it out. And then the last thing that got me really excited about Avengers is they gave their State of the Game update this past week. Square Enix did. And they gave us a heads up on all the things happening. One that you'll be very excited about, Patrick, is that if you log in between October 22nd and November 5th, you will get free credits, free units, free DNA keys, and the creme de la creme, a Sarah Garza nameplate.
They know. They know. Yes. Sarah Garza nameplate, that's amazing.
She deserves it.
She does.
She's the best.
She's seriously.
I might get we should get a tattoo, like Sarah Garza tattoo.
I don't know if
when
I'm
I visit
that
next
far.
year. You just get the one half that says seriously, and then mine says ... you're the best. And then it's like we're like Sarah Garza buddies.
That's what they'll call us.
That's what they'll call us. Also, there will be a ping system.
100%. That's great.
Replayable campaign, which you're excited about.
Yes, finally.
Yes. And then they will be introducing in a few weeks a Destiny-like raid mission called Omega Level Threats, where you will have to have 4 separate human characters squatting up only. No AI, no funny business, only human characters.
Okay.
And so you and I will have to find 2 more people to squat up with us that are high level. Maybe Lem, no, not Mark. He's still working on, we've got to get him to finish Ghost of Tsushima. So
one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll be able to find some people, I'm sure. Or we'll just bring in a rando that'll run around randomly, as randos do. And then Kate Bishop, sorry, Patrick, she will not be coming in October. She will be coming in November. So, delayed a month. Not bad.
All right.
It's fine. We got other stuff to play, so.
For sure.
Yeah. And then the last thing in gaming for me, I have returned to Dead Cells. Surprise, surprise. And
nice. A new update?
Yes. The Barrel o' Fun update. They updated to a new final level, like the level before the final boss. They added in a new level, which is pretty much a distillery. So there's like barrels everywhere and new enemies. There's a couple new weapons that I got to use that are pretty cool. And besides that, the other incentive I have is I still have not legitimately beat 5BC on Dead Cells. And so I think I need to stream it, and I think I need to beat it in the coming weeks. Not only for that game, but for a PlayStation camera that I got in the mail today from one Patrick Novosel.
Oh, snap.
That's
I think
right,
I bought
folks.
that in 2018 for you.
I'm pretty sure you
so
did.
long ago.
It took forever. And after we paid the piper, the boxes came and we unwrapped them. We got all kinds of goodies.
Nice.
We got some Funko Pops. I got a Baby Yoda Funko Pop with a frog hanging out of his mouth. and got that PlayStation camera.
That's funny.
Hooked it up and tested it out today. 4 minutes of fun, showing off my white legs and testing out the, good old PlayStation camera. So it's cool.
Sweet. Nice.
Gonna do it and get back to, playing Dead Cells. I just felt like it's like coming back to my gaming roots, and, it felt good.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting back to our roots, Mark, are you ready to introduce today's topic?
I sure am. Yes, so this actually came to mind because my dad and my stepmom are actually traveling today back to where I come from, my home state of New Hampshire. They're going back up there to visit and to take some vacation and take in a lot of the familiar sights and sounds of New Hampshire. And tastes, because there's a lot of great foods that are basically the comforts of home, and so it inspired me to basically think about what makes your hometown and your home state your home. Like, what are the unique things that make up where you come from, where you were born and raised. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we're going to start off with a couple of joiner responses to our topic. So first and foremost, our latest GMG t-shirt winner, Mr. Tim Pollen.
Yeah.
He writes, "I live in rural Iowa and everyone waves, even to strangers. You meet another car at a stop sign and be prepared to get a quick wave. It's weird, mostly because most of those friendly folks are armed."
Oh, goodness. Be nice to us. Be nice to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be.
Please don't kill me, sir.
Now, is it,
Hi. I'm good. I'm a good person.
now are they waving the gun like in a positive
Oh,
way?
goodness gracious.
I hope not.
Or is the gun in one hand and then they're waving in the other hand? Like,
Don't
better
go
wave
there.
back.
Don't do me wrong, or I'm gonna shoot you.
You better wave back.
But yeah, our second response.
I don't know if I want to go back,
good.
go to where Tim lives.
Yeah,
That sounds dangerous.
kind of turns me off to Iowa even more.
I mean, here in Brazil, one thing that I noticed in the first year or two we were here is everybody gives thumbs up for everything. Like,
That's not the digit people use in my home state.
oh my, everybody, that's what everybody does. That's kind of
No, I'm
abrasive. But no, like you let somebody across the street and they're just like, hey, thumbs up. You I don't know. You think of all the nice things you can do out in public and people are just
Yeah,
like,
I like the
up.
thumbs up rather than the gun wave.
the gun,
it's an
the gun
improvement.
wave. Waving guns
It is an
everywhere.
improvement.
That is an improvement, yes.
Yeah.
No guns here.
No guns? Liar.
Nope. No grass, no guns, only thumbs.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on a t-shirt and sell it.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so moving on.
All right. All righty then.
So Lord Zukor,
Yeah.
he writes to us, old Nate. He writes, "Where I grew up, the town held an annual Alien Days parade because of a supposed UFO sighting some 50 years ago. Basically an excuse for the town to dress like weirdos and parade down the street.
Whatever works.
Also, Howard Hughes' Spruce Goose has its permanent home in a museum there. I believe Howard Hughes is a famous aviator.
Yep, that's an airplane.
They made a movie.
It's not
Oh
an
my
animal.
gosh. I was thinking
It's not an animal.
I was thinking
Like,
the 80s movies guy. That's not Howard Hughes. Who am I thinking of?
the
I have no idea.
80s
Like the
movie
guy-
guy.
Yeah, like he created like all the with Christopher
Oh,
Columbus.
John Hughes,
John Hughes.
Oh,
like The Breakfast Club and Pretty in
Wrong.
Pink.
yes. Samsonite. I was way off.
Don't
I was like, what is
forget
John
about
Hughes'
me.
Spruce Goose? I don't know this. No wonder. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
That is correct.
That is correct.
Agreed.
I concur with that statement.
No argument here. Or from Mark, for that matter.
Yep. So, that leads us into, obviously, there are some interesting and unique things that make where we come from comfortable to us and brings us the nice warm and fuzzies about, living where we live. And so I wanted us to share some of those individual things, whether those be landmarks or food or traditions, things that happen each and every year. Like for me, anything and everything maple, because New Hampshire is kind of a leading producer of maple products, like maple syrup and maple candy and things like that. That always reminds me of
one of
home.
the major
plus,
food groups.
Yes. Oh, what is that from Elf again? I can't remember. Is it candy corns, and syrup or something like that? Yeah.
he makes lunch. It's just a bunch of noodles with maple syrup in it.
Yep.
And Pop-Tarts and marshmallows. Smashes
somebody
it together with his hands.
Somebody suggested, like, hey, we should do that for Christmas. I'm like, no.
Why?
No, we should not. No, their maple syrup is the best. Because
Now,
it's.
I need you to
it's
describe
straight from-
it.
What?
I need you to describe it. Maybe you were going to. Sorry.
Oh, it's just not as chemical tasting as a
Right.
lot of mass-produced ones. It's just got a
Whoa,
nice.
whoa! Chemical tasting?
Yeah.
What kind of maple syrup are
I
you
don't know.
consuming?
If you eat like the typical maple syrup you find in the grocery store, and then you try this, you'll know the difference.
So,
right.
is the New Hampshire or the New England maple syrup, is it watery like Canadian maple syrup?
No.
Okay, because that's what I don't like about quote-unquote pure maple syrup that like Cracker Barrel or some other place has, where they're like, ooh, Canadian maple syrup, and it's like water. Sugar water.
It's much thicker.
Yes,
and,
that's what I like.
Like
in
a
my
honey
opinion,
consistency? Thick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, not quite full on honey, but kind of the in between.
Okay.
But it's sweeter and it's just fresher tasting. I guess is the best way
I
to
want some
describe
pancakes right now.
I know, right? Oh, that
I would
sounds so
love
good.
some pancakes with some New Hampshire maple syrup. New Hampshire and Vermont are leading producers of maple syrup.
I heard the Vermont's pretty good.
They've got
Yeah.
great maple candy.
Yeah. New Hampshire's better. But anyway. But yeah, like that kind of stuff. And obviously the New England area, seafood is a huge deal, because it's fresh. It's not like you're in the box type stuff, and all that kind of stuff. Corn on the cob is something that my dad.
Ooh, yeah.
That'll be one of the things that he gets. Is actually he won't be able to get it now because it's out of season now. But that's one of the things when he goes up to New Hampshire, he has to get some corn on the cob from the local farm stand, because it just tastes different. But what are some kinds of, for example, some kinds of foods that are kind of native to your area that's like, okay, you got to have this if you're coming to West Virginia or to Ohio in the Cincinnati area or whatever?
See, in Cincinnati, the thing that is big around here is chili.
Yep.
And it is Skyline chili, to be more precise. It's like a staple. People come in, you got to try the Skyline chili, and it is like 50-50 of whether someone's going to like it or not, because it's just a bed of noodles and you throw chili and cheese on top of it. And it is what it is called is different meaning than in any other part of the United States or the world, and it's called a three-way. because it's noodles, chili, and cheese. And then they have like 4 ways where they have like they'll add beans and a 5-way. They add something else. I don't know, but I like the 3-way because it's just chili, cheese, and noodles. And people are like, whenever they come in, maybe they're from Florida, and someone's come in like, why would you put chili on noodles? And it's just like very foreign to people. But growing up in Cincinnati, Skyline's one of the things that you eat. It's just like you grow up and it's just something that you love. And all the other 49 states, people are like, "What are you, Skyline?" But yeah, that was one of the places that we went to when Tony was in town. We had to get Skyline because you can't get it really anywhere else. That's one of the big things. Our city is like comes from like a German settlers, so we have a lot of German heritage in Cincinnati. So there's a lot of sausages and Oktoberfests and German. We have a park called Germania Park. So there's just like all of it's like a lot of German in that respect. So with that, there's a lot of like pork. So I think back in like the 1800s when the Cincinnati was settled, it was called Porkopolis because there was just a bunch of pig farms. And so there's just a ton of bacon, sausage, everything that comes from pigs. So yeah, like, yes, bacon.
Tim
Bacon
Pollen's listening right now, and he's like, "You have my attention. First, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention."
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, being from West Virginia, almost heaven, I have a number of foods that either are the most common in West Virginia, or when I mention them outside of West Virginia, people are like, "What? What are you talking about?" One of those is pepperoni rolls. And
Interesting.
It's just what you can imagine. It's a roll stuffed with pepperoni, often with cheese, sometimes with chili, like, what you would have in Skyline. The same thing, like hot dog sauce or hot dog chili, whatever you want to call it.
Hot dog sauce? What is that?
That's what
Is that ketchup?
No. So some people call it
or mustard, whichever one you want to use.
Some people call it hot dog chili. Some people call it hot dog sauce. It's pretty much what you put on your Skyline chili. To me, is hot dog chili. It's hot dog sauce. It's
okay.
And so
that's one of on the kids menu in Skyline. You put hot dogs on top of the chili.
Yeah. And even when I went to college in Ohio, and I went to Skyline Chili, I went to Shake and Bake, and I went to the different restaurants. Or what's the other? Not Skyline. There's another.
Was it Gold Star?
Yeah, Gold Star.
Is the other one, but no one talks about Gold Star.
I went to both, and I was like, "This is just hot dog chili on top of spaghetti noodles." I'm like, "Sorry, not impressed." I'll eat it. It's good. I mean, it's food, but yeah. It is what it is.
Well, hold on. You said it's food, you'll eat it. So if I took you to Long John Silver's,
ooh,
dude,
you're like, hey, that's food. I'll eat it.
Full confession, I like Long John Silver's. I just like to make fun of you. I grew up.
Ronnie's not here.
Yeah.
What?
You can't prove this. Once Ronnie's back, I'm going full on. I hate Long John Silver's, but
what do you mean you can't prove this? We're on a podcast.
Man. He doesn't listen. He won't hear it. He won't get this far.
I thought we were going to talk about our hometowns. Now we're just into confession time.
Dude,
here we go.
I grew up on Long John Silver's. I loved Hush Puppies growing up, like in the Crunchies. Yeah. So
the Crunchies.
The Crunchies are the best.
Sorry.
So anyways, back to pepperoni rolls. Pepperoni rolls are magical. When a couple months ago, Mindy found good old, I don't want to say American pepperoni. It didn't originate in the U.S., but pepperoni as I know it is hard to find here in Brazil. And so a few months ago, she found it at the grocery store. We could buy it. She bought like 2 huge packs. We had to put half of it in the freezer. And she made pepperoni rolls. We made pepperoni pizza. Oh, it was amazing. And so
nice.
Pepperoni rolls to me are West Virginia. Another thing that to me is West Virginia is apple butter. I love apple butter. Grew up eating, every fall, someone on the street, someone in the holler, someone in the more rural areas would make fresh apple butter, not the stuff you'd buy in the store or whatever, but like out of a black kettle, cooked, at a state fair or down the street or whatever. So good.
Nice.
Ramps. I don't know if you guys have had ramps or heard of ramps, but it's pretty much garlic mixed with onion, and it's like a garlic. It's like a onion shoot, except it has the aroma and the strength of flavor, like probably too strong, of garlic.
Ooh, that is up my alley.
Oh man, and it only grows wild. People don't like do crops or whatever. So you go on ramp. You go. What is the verb they use? It's not hunting. You go picking ramps or whatever. But you go into the forest, and during the season, you go out into the forest and you find ramps. And oh man, let me tell you, the flavor, onions and garlic mixed together, it's wonderful. But if you don't eat it with other people and you're the only one that ate it, you are going to stink out the place. and nobody is going to want to talk to you, be near you.
That's that garlic.
It just goes right to your blood and just, you stink so badly, but it tastes so good. And then the last thing that I'll mention that maybe some people don't know is the Golden Delicious apple actually originated in West Virginia in Clay County, 1775. And I grew up eating Golden Delicious apples, and I have to say that I miss them. Like, they don't have any kind of Golden Delicious, anything close to a Golden Delicious here in Brazil. It's pretty much like Gala, Fuji. What are you saying yuck to?
Oh, just compared to your apples in West Virginia, I'm sure what's in Brazil is blech.
Yes. Yeah, it's not. I mean, there are some good apples, but the variety of apples is not there, and so you don't have like your Granny Smiths or your Golden Delicious and those different ones. But yeah, so those are the foods that I associate with West Virginia, with my childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like our area is well known for its apples as well. I remember there's this place that we used to go to every year called Max Apples, where they would, sell all sorts of different kinds of apples. Now, I'm a weirdo. Like, I've only recently started getting into some fruits, so apples was not my thing.
What do you
Still
mean?
isn't my
You're
thing.
Just now getting into fruits, like before you didn't?
Yeah,
eat,
for the most part,
fruit
I don't like fruit.
of any kind.
Like, the only type of fruit I've really liked was when I went to Hawaii.
Well,
and they have some really good fresh fruit.
You can't deny
there.
that fruit. In tropical countries, the fruit is... Yeah. There's no comparison between the fruit we have in the U.S. and then like Hawaii, Costa Rica. Oh, man.
Right.
So good.
Oof. But, yeah, most fruit, like, I've tried many, many times, and I just don't like it.
All right.
The only one that I kind of like is bananas. So... But yeah, that's one thing we're known for. And also, one thing I kind of want to mention is we are actually known, and New England in general is known for a particular style of hot dog bun. And it is called a split top New England style hot dog bun. And there's really no way to describe it other than it's just a particular shape with... It's cut through the top of the bun. You'll have to Google it.
On the Google machine right now.
Do it.
Click, 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 click.
It's just, it doesn't necessarily taste any different. It just reminds me of home because that's primarily where you find that style.
Okay. Yeah, I've had that before.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there are all sorts of little places that remind me of my hometown as well. Like, there's a sub shop in my hometown. It's called Cahill's. Great subs, just fresh meat. Everything is just, everything's good, and so that's definitely a big stop I have to make. Travis Pospisil, he says, born and raised in Oswego, New York, right on Lake Ontario. It's a great town with very little crime, a world record breaking amount of bars and more snow than I want. I miss snow down here, though. That's one of the things that reminds me of home, too. But we'll come back to that. It has family, friends, and great memories. I've moved from my hometown a few times, once to Virginia Beach. I always come back. So my question is to you, what draws you back to your hometown?
I have an easy. Can I give my easy answer real quick? Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. That's what takes me home.
Country roads.
John
Denver.
Denver.
You back, or?
Yep.
John Denver.
Every time,
back.
John Denver. I hear that song
Nice.
and it takes me back to West Virginia. I can feel the grass, the beautiful West Virginia grass and the trees.
Lush.
Did you know that West Virginia is covered by 75% forest? It is a camping extravaganza. Patrick, you would hate it.
Mosquitoes aplenty.
That is correct. Mosquitoes and bats and critters. I mean,
Bats are okay.
That's why we're known for our roadkill.
Nah.
Which I forgot to mention in the food section. Roadkill. I miss me some good roadkill. Finding something, on the asphalt, scraping it off.
Oh,
and then
the face
throwing
Patrick is making right now.
That is such a stereotype that is not true.
Have you ever seen that Tom Green episode where he tries to pick up roadkill?
I think so.
That episode?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That's the first thing that comes to mind when anyone says roadkill.
Yeah, man. To go back to what Travis Popsicle originally asked, that song. Anytime I hear that song, "Country Roads," it takes me home.
For me, I don't see. I was born and raised, still live in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I really haven't moved anywhere. You know what I mean? So I've always been home. But I would say if I were to go anywhere, it's my family. My entire family lives here. Almost my entire family, and then Mel's almost her entire family is here. We just love to be around family. I think it would be hard. It'd be very difficult for my wife, more so than me, to be away from family because she is just her family is a rock. So I think it would be family for sure.
Sweet. Yeah, what draws me back home is obviously memories of growing up and just thinking about all the fun times that we had, and and we're going to talk more about this in the moment, things, landmarks and things that are important traditions to where we come from. Falls in New England and New Hampshire are incredible. Just the crisp fall air and the leaves, all the foliage changing is just incredible to see. Just thinking about that makes me think of home. The complete lack of snow that we have here in Virginia makes me think of how much we had back home in New Hampshire.
I thought you were going to say it makes me think of how much I hate it.
Yeah.
It's I want the snow.
Yes, I miss the snow. Although 2020 would be the year that we would get a bunch of snow in November probably. But in any case, all those things that remind me of good times and good memories of home. Just thinking about, high school and all of my friends and all the places I used to visit, those things draw me back to my hometown and just reliving some of those memories.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you 100%, Mark, with the changing of the leaves. I think when we've talked about this before on the podcast, I wasn't familiar with New England, fall leaf changes, but yeah. I grew up with West Virginia ones, which are very similar. We have different colors associated with our fall colors, but for the most part, man, that change from the green trees to the reds and the yellows and the browns and just all the different, just that cascading change is just so beautiful, and I miss that. I will say I don't miss the snow, but I definitely miss the fall colors and the pumpkin spice. We don't have anything pumpkin here, So I can't be a basic white girl like you. It really makes me sad sometimes.
But yeah, so moving on to what are the things like when someone would if someone were to ask you, where should I go? What should I visit when I come to West Virginia or the Cincinnati area of Ohio or New Hampshire? Where should I go first? Like what places, should I not miss? What comes to mind for you guys?
Yeah. First is the Cincinnati Zoo. Cincinnati Zoo is rated in the top 3, maybe, in the United States. I think San Diego is number 1, and I believe Cincinnati might be number 2. It is great. It's huge. It's so many things are like we have like hippos. We have baby hippos, baby giraffes. We now have kangaroos where you can be in like an open area with the kangaroos hopping beside you. It's really, really cool. It's very inexpensive, as opposed to other zoos. So it's easy to go to, especially as a family. It doesn't break the bank, with a family. If it's during the summer or Cincinnati Reds game, it's great. It's also inexpensive. You can get seats for like $6, but now with the quarantine, not so much. But because there's no fans allowed in there. Maybe next year. It's good. That and we have a couple museums. We have the National Underground Museum. So like the National Underground, that the whole movement goes through Cincinnati. So we have a really nice underground museum there. And then we also have the what we call the Union Terminal. It used to be an old train station, and now it is home to several museums. We have like a kids museum in there. There's like an Omnimax theater in there. There's a natural history museum, and what's cool about it is the Union Terminal in Cincinnati. It is also the what the Justice League bases their home base out of.
Yeah.
So it's modeled directly after Union Terminal. And if you watch the Justice League movie, they actually have the actual Union Terminal as in that movie.
Nice.
So it's really, really cool. So there's plenty of stuff to do around Cincinnati.
Sweet.
Yes.
Lucas, how about you?
So with West Virginia, a lot of what is available to do, as I said, 75% of it's forests. So camping, hiking, there's a number of what I would call like rock formations or, and honestly, I had totally forgotten about a lot of them till we started talking about it more. And I don't even remember the names of them, but you can find them. You just Google hiking places in West Virginia and there's rock formations and stuff.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of the things that I want to see kind of revolve around more man-made things. And actually that connects also to your last question of talking about like what takes you home or makes you think of home. And for me, Mother's Day is a holiday that I think of home, not just because of my mother and my stepmom and my mom before, but actually in my hometown, the first observance of Mother's Day, May 10th, 1908 in Andrews Church, happened where I grew up. And later on, they built a church called the Mother's Day Shrine, where every year our choir or a group of people would sing, and they'd have a special service on Mother's Day. And so that's a really cool place to visit and see. It's a really, really old church, but has like murals and paintings and different things. It's a very different kind of church, a very old style, but a very, very tall and with a steeple and all that, all those traditional things with the church. The other thing that's really cool in the south, in the southern part of, I almost said Brazil, the southern part of West Virginia, and there's a town called Summersville that I used to go to for church camp a lot, but they have a man-made lake there called Summersville Lake that has like 30 or 40 foot cliffs that you can jump off of. That's really fun. If you get a boat or a jet ski, you can drive around the lake, and that's pretty fun. And then also New River Gorge Bridge, the longest steel arched bridge in the Western Hemisphere, about 1,700 feet long. Every October on Bridge Day, they close it off, and people will parachute or bungee jump about 900 feet off the bridge. So
wow,
that's pretty cool. I've only seen videos. I've not gone to it. Probably in another life, or if I had lived in West Virginia during adulthood, I definitely would have wanted to try the parachute jumping. Maybe not the bungee jumping. The jerking of my body on the bungee just doesn't sound nice. But parachuting off would be really cool. I've seen people do it, and it's a pretty cool bridge. So yeah, those are some of the sites, but a lot of it has to do with nature and hiking and those kind of things. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah, obviously for New Hampshire, a lot of that is very outdoorsy type stuff. The big things to see. Unfortunately, one of our huge claims to fame is now non-existent. You'll notice on our license plates and driver's licenses, and if you remember back in the day when they did those state quarters for all the 50 states, if you look on the New Hampshire state quarter, there is a rock formation called the Old Man in the Mountain, and that was kind of our quote-unquote claim to fame for New Hampshire. There was a rock formation that literally, if you looked at it from the side, it looked like this old man. But unfortunately, back in, I want to say the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, something like that, unfortunately, there was a rock slide, a major rock slide, and the Old Man in the Mountain was destroyed. So now it's just this diagonal slab on the side of the mountain. So he is long since gone. But there are several other things you can go visit that are very scenic. Obviously, the one to really go to is Mount Washington, and it's part of the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Mount Washington is sort of is the biggest peak, biggest mountain you can go to in New Hampshire. If you go to the very top of Mount Washington, there is an observatory, and it is incredibly windy and many times incredibly snowy. I think that it was like the fastest recorded wind speed in America or something like that was on the top of Mount Washington, and I think it was like, I want to say it was like 231 miles an hour or something like that. I'll have to pull it back up. But yeah, visiting that observatory is definitely an experience. It has the country's first cog railway. It's a railroad that is specifically designed for climbing a mountain, and so the Mount Washington Cog Railway, you can get on that to go up to the summit of Mount Washington. Yeah, so it says here on the afternoon of April 12th, 1934, the Mount Washington Observatory recorded a wind speed of 231 miles per hour, which was the world record from 1934 until 1996.
Mark fact.
Well, in that case, Wikipedia fact.
But you said it first. Fact.
But that's one of the biggest things to go visit in New Hampshire. If you're a racing fan, we have an international speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire International Speedway. I remember this place that my family and I used to visit when I was a kid quite a bit. It was this place called the Alpine Slide, and it's in a mountain range called Attitash Mountain, and it's basically this huge downhill, almost like a luge type slide that you can get on a sled type luge looking thing, and it's super fun to go down, and we used to visit that all the time. those are some of the big things. A lot, like half of the stuff that is exciting in New Hampshire is really in like Massachusetts and Maine. Because,
So not New Hampshire.
Yeah, so not New Hampshire. But I mean, there's plenty of fun scenic things to do. But like, if you want to experience like a lot of history and things like that, because obviously, the Pilgrims, they settled on over at Plymouth Rock, which is in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So I've been to Plymouth Rock many times. They actually have a full-on recreation, I think, on the property of Plymouth Plantation, and things like that. Obviously, Boston and that whole area is super historical and obviously fun to go through. And plus, where I grew up is only about an hour from where I grew up. Is going into the heart of Boston.
Heart of
A
Boston.
lot of fun. Boston.
Cool.
Boston. But yeah. So and obviously Maine. There's a lot of, again, beautiful scenic things. You can get a lot of great seafood there because obviously it's on the seacoast. All that kind of stuff. But those are kind of the big attractions for gaming fans. And funny enough, when I went on my when we went on our honeymoon, we actually stopped at this place. There is the country's, at least, if not one of the largest, the largest, if not one of the largest, arcade museums.
That's cool.
In New Hampshire is at a place called Fun Spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
Sounds
Laconia.
fun.
Yeah. And there's a ton of old school arcade games and pinball machines and things like that, and it's set up to where you can play them, but it's also set up like a museum almost. And it's a lot of fun to walk through and play through. But things like that, those are some of the major landmarks for sure.
Cool.
Nice.
Patrick, I forgot to mention one thing that connected to what you mentioned. West Virginia also has a zoo.
Yeah.
Called Hovatter Zoo.
Okay.
And I took
That's an interesting name.
Took my daughter to it like when she was a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And man, it's special. It is not top rated, top 3, top 10, top 50, probably not even top 100 zoos in the USA, but it is an experience that you will find nowhere else unless you go visit the Tiger King. Because you get there, right? And it looks like it's like a homegrown, somebody bought some animals. No, they have lions, they have bears, I don't think they have any tigers, but they have some exotic animals. But what's kind of like weird and off about it is most of the animals have a feeding tube, like a PVC pipe leading from where you look at them down to the front of their cage, and you can feed them pretty much dog food. I don't know if it's dog food, but it's like kibbles and bits.
Jeez.
And these animals have been there so long, being fed this kibble by the visitors to the zoo so much that like the bear will just sit by the PVC pipe and bang it with his paw until somebody feeds him. And that's all he does all day. He just sits there by the tube and he beats it until someone's like, gives him food.
Jeez.
The raccoons will just shove their heads up into the pipe and just wait for food to come down. You don't even get to see them like being...
Does a raccoon really need to be in a zoo?
No, but there's so few options. There are raccoons. There are... Trying to think of what
there's
else.
Cats,
that was
there's
in.
dogs,
cats,
there's mice.
Dogs. Yep, pretty much. There's So Hovatter Zoo.
Funny.
Should check it out. West Virginia, it's the finest.
I actually had a huge zoo and wild animal farm kind of thing in my hometown for many years, and has been the subject of... You guys know who Dane Cook is, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. He tells this story about begging his dad to go to Benson's Wild Animal Farm, which was in Hudson, New Hampshire, the place where I grew up, and it had been there since like oh gosh, like the 30s or something like that, and was in business until the late 80s, early 90s, where it unfortunately went out of business and they sold the property. It was a huge attraction, huge draw for that area, and obviously Dane Cook is from the New England area, and so he would tell a story about his dad begging his dad to go to Benson's Wild Animal Farm. But yeah, obviously I never got to experience that because I was very, very young when it went out of business. But yeah, but let's switch over to traditions. What are some things that go on in where you come from that's like an event that happens every year that you can't miss if you live in that area?
Yeah, for Cincinnati, it's Oktoberfest. And to kick off Oktoberfest, the entire city does the chicken dance. And it is the world's largest chicken dance. And it is, and you laugh, but it is a riot when you have that many people doing the chicken dance to kick off Oktoberfest. And it's great to, going downtown and just trying all the different foods around the city, because like I said, it is a very hodgepodge group of ethnicities in Cincinnati. So there's so many different kinds of foods, with German, Irish, American, Greek, Indian, you name it. There's all types of food here. And that's what's great about Oktoberfest. There's also, with Cincinnati, there is a ton of microbrews. So there's a ton of breweries in Cincinnati that are down there as well. All different kinds of beers and drinks and foods down at Oktoberfest. That is one thing. If you're in Cincinnati in October, that's the place to go.
Nice. Lucas, how about you? Traditions, events?
Yeah, in my neck of the woods, outside of the standard, holidays celebrated to the max, the big thing in my town was always Memorial Day, the Memorial Day parade. And we had a parade where you had everything from clowns walking down the street throwing candy to Shriners driving little mini race car, not even race cars, they're like little mini bumper cars,
like power wheels,
like doing little formations. And when you're in elementary school, you would walk in your grade level, and at the end of the parade you would take a flower and lay it at either a family member or a friend's relative's grave of someone who had fought in a war or was a veteran. And so Memorial Day was always a huge deal, going to the Memorial Day parade. Other than that, not really a whole lot. State fairs, I guess. Lots of state fairs. That's like state fairs for me growing up was like the getting to, this is before cell phones, before the internet. Like you would leave school, end of May, beginning of June, and then you wouldn't see your friends till the beginning of August. Or the middle of August at a state fair. So like between some grade levels, I remember between like 6th and 7th grade, for example, some kids would hit a growth spurt and they would be like an extra half a foot to a foot taller. Kids' voices would drop. Certain lady friends would look a little different, and you'd be like, oh, you don't look quite as boyish as you used to look. And, it was just like, it was the time to see your friends after a summer of doing other things. And, state fairs were, riding the awful, death traps that we called rides, and doing the carny games where they would steal your money, and then hanging out with your friends and, starting to see your crushes and kind of set up for the next school year. But yeah, those are probably the traditions I think of. The summer traditions were pretty fun.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much the same thing where I grew up. Only, obviously our New Hampshire has county and state fairs, but a lot of smaller towns in New Hampshire, they have these particular type of fairs, and there's really not anything different other than what they call it. They call it Old Home Days. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but yeah, it's basically a multiple day, fair type experience where there's like all sorts of vendors and rides and food and all sorts of things. I remember I think it was every Sunday they'd have a big pancake breakfast at the high school, which is where I went to high school, because there's only one in the town, which was right near the site where they had the fair every year. There's this very rich family back in like the early 1900s that had this huge property with a nice huge house. And that property, that land, is where my town has their Old Home Days every year. And so, yeah, much like your state fairs, people were gone for the summer. People would go through a lot of changes. There were people that you just wouldn't see throughout the summer. And, you'd come back showing off your new improved self. And this is how I'm going to look for this new school year. And, you'd see people that you hadn't seen in quite a while and stuff like that. This was your chance to start over and reinvent yourself. And you'd meet up with friends and family, and they'd have fireworks on a certain night and all that kind of stuff. And they still do that to this day. It was always one of the highlights of my year in my hometown, for sure. And the county and state fairs you could always visit, which were on a much bigger level, obviously, where you could enjoy all the awesome food and things like that. And again, half of the fun stuff that you could do was, next state over in Massachusetts and stuff like that. There was this fair that we used to go to every year that was called the Big E. And they called it that because it stands for this company called the Eastern States Exposition. And it's just this huge fair. And I remember they had all sorts of concerts going on. It's the first and only time, actually, I saw Weird Al in concert.
Oh, cool.
Jealous.
Which was a lot of fun. But yeah, those are some of the big events that go on. It's just a lot of state fairs and county fairs and stuff like that, and Old Home Days, for
cool.
sure. So I kind of want to close here with our last joiner question, or not question, but response, which is from old Splig, or Shiplig, however you want to say it. Dopalicious. Mr. Mike Doherty. He says, born in Oklahoma, I remember one summer watching a tornado approach my great-grandfather's farm. He casually got up and said, well, kids, time to go down to the cellar. He was pretty BA. He was the town sheriff and the rodeo clown. Interesting. Also, and here's another practice that I can't believe anybody does, sticking black cats in cow patties and blowing them up.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that exactly what I think it means?
I don't know. That he didn't really leave that,
Okay.
He didn't really define that, so it's pretty open to interpretation, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says sticking black cats in cow patties and blowing them up.
I'm guessing that's the name of the firecracker or dynamite they used. Dynamite, maybe not dynamite. That's a little overkill. Or like did they
now that whole whistling?
I don't know. I just googled black cats cow patties, and
why would you do that?
The second thing it says the second link says the truth about cat poop. And I kind of want to click on it.
Oh, wow.
What is the truth I need to know?
I mean,
It makes me think of that the Joe Dirt quote. You're like, you mean you've never had the Husker Do's, Husker Don'ts, or whatever?
All the names of fireworks.
It's a Deer Tay.
And then he says, we moved to Orlando before I got to the cow tipping age of idiocracy. I don't know. I think you were pretty far in with black cats and cow patties and blowing them up. But interesting traditions all around the country and
For sure.
around the world too, because we do have international listeners, of course. But the important thing to think about is all of these.
So hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about this black cat and cow patties. Is the black cat like a firework and the cow patties is poop?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm assuming
cow
Just, like,
patties are
throw it like
cow patties are definitely poop, and I don't understand why would you want to blow up poop?
why
Like,
specifically a
It just
black cat?
goes everywhere. Well, black cat has to be the name of
it has to be
the firecracker
the name
or
of the
explosive.
firecracker.
There's no way they're like, we only put black animal cats into the poop. How do you get it to stay in the poop long enough to blow up? Like, you stay here, kitty cat.
That's tradition in Oklahoma.
Yeah, just put a little catnip in there, and
As is tradition.
and the cat's like, ooh,
Get him in there.
and then boom, there goes the cat and the patty all over the
And
place.
PETA is heading right after Mike Doherty right now.
Yeah,
Oh, they must have a bunch of black cats over there.
they must.
Yeah,
They,
the black cat population is horrible in Oklahoma.
It's non-existent, pretty much.
that's the way they can make sure that they control the population.
Yes, that's how they control the population. They
Not a humane way
shove
of
them
doing
into
it,
cow
but it is
patties,
a way.
watch them explode.
And there's nothing to do in Oklahoma, so
What?
you know.
He didn't even mention explosives, so maybe like there's something going on with the cow patties there that when
I
they
need
come in
more
contact,
information.
they come in contact with a black cat, they just automatically explode.
It's like a landmine
Yeah, it's like
for black cats.
like a works bomb. You combine this cleaning plumbing solution. You combine it with aluminum foil and it explodes.
Don't if you combine black cats with cow plop, yeah, it's just
Cow
it's a
plop?
It's a bad combination.
Yeah.
Now, can you call it cow plop if they don't? It's not like they relieve themselves in a toilet to make the plop sound. So wouldn't it be more like cow thud?
It has to hit the ground.
Cow-
though.
Yeah, but
Cow
it doesn't
swish.
plop. When it hits the ground, it's like, that doesn't happen.
Well, a plop doesn't necessarily have to be that high-pitched noise. A plop
doesn't?
is just...
Oh. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That is not what I hear when someone says plop. I hear that's more like a thud or a...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
To each their own, I suppose.
I guess.
I would
those West
I think we
Virginians-
need to. This is part one of the story. We need part two.
Yeah, I need part 2 of...
We're going to
Yeah.
follow up on that for
Yeah.
sure.
I need a diagram. Like, how does this work? Like, what is the process? Step 1 through however many steps it is.
So obviously, all of these things, including black cats and cow patties and blowing them
Cow
up.
plops.
Yeah. Apparently, all these things remind us
Thud
of,
plops.
of home and...
Nope,
and-
none of those things remind me of home.
You know, it reminds me of home poop.
I'm surprised you two, of all people,
Pepperoni roll plops.
gross.
The old
Let's turn
Skyline
away
plop
from the
chili.
skid here.
The skid.
So all of these things.
Plops.
Stop it.
All right,
Stop
we
it.
need to skid to a stop in this discussion.
You
Yes,
mean
yes,
skid
we
to
do.
a...
Okay, so all of these, many of these things, some of them not so much, but many of these things remind us of home and where we grew up and just the memories that we have associated with it.
Wheeze a lot of
And-
people.
Yeah.
Because Lucas is gone.
I can't say anything else.
Nope. We're done here. We're done here. So anyway, yeah, many of these things remind us of the memories that we share of home and where we're born and raised and the things that made us who we are. And let's reflect on the not so weird things.
Good luck.
And just remember where we came from.
Yeah.
Because it's important to
We
remember
all came
those
from
things.
a plop.
Okay, we're ending the topic
You
right
were
here.
born with
right
a plop. There's no way you were
Weren't
born with
you?
a plop.
I mean, if the doctor didn't catch you, you would have plopped.
Yes.
Thankfully, he did.
Woo, that was a close one. Almost dropped that one.
Thanks, Doc.
Thanks, Doc, for catching me. Not plopping me.
Okay, and so that's that.
Yep. Oh, is that my cue? Sorry.
That is your cue.
I wasn't ready. I thought you were going to say.
No, I could tell you weren't ready.
I thought you were going to keep saying it. It reminds us of when we plopped. All right. Moving
Speaking
on.
of plops.
Well, that's all for this plopping good time of. I don't even know how to transition out of this. Ooh, hold on, just give me a second.
It was such a plopping good time.
Such a plopping good time. That's all for this plopping good time. Talking about our hometowns, home states, home plops. Please take the
What's
time.
a home plop?
It's a home
Is
plop.
it like
I
home
don't
fries
know.
but plops?
Yep, pretty much. Ooh, please take
With
time
ketchup?
to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Stitcher. It helps us in ways we do not understand, but science has proven that it will help more joiners join us. Also, we're happy you hung around with us and listened, despite all the plops and thuds.
Plop is an underrated word.
It really is. It's the best word ever. Okay, best word
I'm
for
retiring
tonight.
from podcasting.
Mark, I'd say I'm sorry, but I'm really not.
You're not.
Man. Woo. We're glad you've lasted this long. We hope you do go beyond listening, beyond plopping. Check us out. I can't stop. I'm sorry. Ooh, check out our show notes. Follow the links that'll guide you to Twitter, where you can follow us, and we will follow you back. Also, chat with us on the GMG Joiners. Chat with us and our GMG Joiners on Discord, where we are talking about everything from dad jokes, Pop Darts, Avengers, cow cleavage, and plops.
We're not talking about that on the Discord yet, but we will.
We will
apparently.
be talking about cow plops real soon. Cow thuds. The cow cleavage is a real thing, but you have to join Discord to find out what that's all about.
All things cows.
That's right.
Join our Discord.
It's the best. Woo. As usual, we have additional content throughout the week. Retro October with Mark at twitch.tv/thegoodmorningguys. As he said earlier, he will be streaming Star Tropics, so check it out this week. I also will be twitching in the coming weeks on twitch.tv/Mr. Pastor Ham. And then, of course, there is our supplemental podcast of of Good Morning God. This past week, I talked about asking the right questions, which one of those questions was not, what does the sound of a cow make when it plops? That is not a question I ask, but I do ask other questions. And it's good stuff. So if I say so myself, I'm just going off the rails. Yeah.
You don't know what's happening.
All I can hear is plops in my head. All right. Rate, review, subscribe, please. I know this isn't a good reason, a good sell right now, but just trust me, okay? Mark was on it last week. You want to listen to that. So that's worth the subscribe and follow alone. Regardless, however you connect with us, remember you can also call us at 929-GMG-PLOP. Leave a message, ask a question, and
You better
simply
be careful because you have no idea what
let your
number
voice
that
be
is.
heard. If you call that, let us know what happens. The actual number is 929-GMG, guys. Leave a message, ask a question, let your voice be heard. Speaking of what should be heard and what should not be heard, like a plop. Mark, what is the latest song addition to the GMG music playlist that any and all can hear on Spotify and Apple Music?
Yeah, so of course we've been talking about obviously where we were born and raised, our hometowns, our home states, our home areas, and so that is the focus that I went with our additions to the Good Morning Guys morning playlist. So this week, the first song is John Mayer's Born and Raised, off of his Born and Raised album. The second song is John Mellencamp's Small Town. And the third song is Michael Bublé's Home, which is a wonderful song. So I hope that these songs help remind you of home and I hope they help you get your good morning on.
And as is tradition, the fourth song that I will throw out there is Country Roads, Take Me Home by John Denver.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was coming.
That's a good one. Yeah.
All right, besides the weekly GMG music playlist, we are continuing to pull together the GMG video game top 100 that we will rank and reveal in a future episode. Which game would you guys like to add to the list today, starting with Ronnie?
He is not here today.
I was just kidding. He can do 2 next week. Patrick.
I'm going to go with Mass Effect 2. Now, if I can go with, if I could cheat and say the series, I would, because you can't have 2 without 1 and 3, but 2 is just sublime.
So good. So good. They introduced those like more personal missions that you could go on with your people, and just that final mission is epic.
Oh, so good.
At least until you get to the giant alien baby.
Well, I mean,
it goes off the rails, but but it's so good.
Yep.
Mark?
Star Fox 64.
Whoa.
Do a barrel roll.
You've already said that, so say something else.
Oh, busted.
I'm going home.
It must be a good one then.
Yes.
So good.
Shoot, I didn't think about this.
You're going to get 2 next week as well.
Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the Game Boy version.
Nice.
Cool.
And Lucas?
My pick, hopefully I did not pick this one before, is Guacamelee.
You have not picked that before.
The old Guacamelee. I love that game. Steeped in Mexican culture, jokes galore, and excellent platforming and fighting. It's wondrous.
Nice.
And who doesn't want to be a luchador?
Yeah.
I know I don't not want to be a luchador.
I don't not want to be one either.
Exactly.
Mark sent me a picture of a luchador wrestler who he changes his costume almost every week. And the new costume he had a couple weeks ago, he was the Megazord from Power Rangers.
Nice.
This is pretty sweet.
It was awesome.
That sounds sweet. Sweet like honey. Sweet like New Hampshire maple syrup.
Sweet like Mark.
Sweet like a plop.
No, that is not
That's
sweet.
not how it works.
Nope.
But
That's not how any
but
of
I
this works.
I did look up the definition of plop.
What you got?
And
Of course you did.
I was like, I want to know what the plop definition was. And it said the plop definition is something falling or dropping into water.
Exactly. Thank you. Winner,
yeah.
plop
Said
and
falling
dinner.
or
a lot of them says fall with sound of object hitting liquid,
Yep.
something
Plop.
into liquid.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of it has to do with a liquid.
That's called a ham fact.
But when you say you're plopping it into a chair, like I just plop down.
I don't-
like you don't.
Okay.
You're not in the water. You know what I mean?
It's called misusing the word.
I highly disagree with that. But
Well,
anyway,
Sorry, Webster says you wrong. You basic. You plop.
I'd like to look up the Oxford Dictionary version of that.
Nah, I don't trust those British.
And say goodbye to all the British fans.
I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Oxford was the
trust those
OG. No, you got great accents too. Because I mean, if I would have like rewinded the podcast and just changed all the plops to plops, it would be even better. Like little cow plop. It just sounds cooler.
Yep. I think Mark's sigh is like, just end the show.
Yes.
Oh, it is. And I'm just stringing it out. All right. Next week, folks, you'll be glad to know I am in charge. I am the captain now.
Please.
I'm not happy to know that.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about something fun, something great, something gravy with Ronnie, who will be returning. So I hope you're ready.
Nice.
I'm not going to say what it is because obviously
You don't know.
I'm pulling a Ronnie and I'm not ready, but it'll be fun. Alrighty then. Pat, Mark, and myself, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You thought I was going to say plop, didn't you?
I did. I really did.
And as you plop.
I thought it was coming. The way you slowed down, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna say plop. He's gonna say plop."
That's how I get you every time.
Yeah.
And as you